Hello, everybody. Welcome to another one of our business success growth series webinars. Today, I am your coach for the day, Steve Goranson. And in today's webinar, we are going to be talking about creating leverage in your business. So you might be asking, okay, what do I mean by leverage? Well, we create leverage in our business through people and education, systems and technology, delivery and distribution, and even testing and measuring. In part, leverages systems, and that's what most people think of when we talk about leverage, but it's not all about just creating systems. See, most people don't see leverage as a really exciting part of their business. The reality is it's really part of a methodology of way of, think of it this way, freeing up your time so you don't have to work in the business anymore. So when you realize this, that's when we get excited about leverage, the step of leverage. So today, the first thing we need to talk about is how do we build a business that works so you don't have to? So I guess the question is, you're asking, why are you here? Most of you are here for a variety of different reasons. You know, maybe you want your business to run without you. You want to work less hours. You really want your team to be more productive. You know, these are things that are really important to all of us. But you want a systems-based business instead of a people's-based business. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So before we get started, I know a few of you already know who I am. You know, I've owned and operated the Jacksonville office of Action Coach for almost the past 18 years, since December of 2004. And yes, I've been doing this for quite a long time now. And, you know, see, Action Coach, we have over 1,000 offices in, I think, maybe over 70 or 80 different countries around the world. And it's our strategies and our systems that we teach here, that I'm going to be sharing with you even here today, that has really been proven and tested with business owners just like you all over the world. And, you know, when I sat back and I started my business, I really found that my passion really comes from my why, and that came from my dad. You see, my dad was a small business owner himself. He really struggled in the day-to-day tasks of running his business. He really just wasn't a good business owner. He was good at what he did. He was great at what he did, but no one ever taught him how to run a successful business. You know, so, you know, me and my sister, we really never got to see my dad too much growing up because he was always working. He was always trying to make ends meet, trying to pay the bills and just give us the things he never had when he was growing up. And that led to him missing a lot of family events because maybe an employee issue popped up, or client issues that seemed to pop up out of nowhere, right? And the sad thing is I didn't really realize this. I didn't understand this until maybe it was like the final days of his life, virtually on his deathbed, where I was spending a week with him before he passed on. And I started sharing with him what I was doing in my business. And that's when he opened up and started sharing the struggles, his struggles with me as being a business owner. And that's when it really clicked to me. That's when I really knew why I was so passionate about being a coach. You see, if there would have been someone there that would have been able to help my dad, to teach my dad, guide him in a better way, you know, help him to stay focused on really the important things instead of really majoring in the minor things, as some people like to say, you know, our lives would have been so much easier. My mom's, my sister, my life, you know, our life would have been so much easier. I mean, in hindsight, I wouldn't probably trade it back for anything because I had so many, I had a pretty good childhood, but I think this is my why, I think, and this is why I'm so passionate about helping other people and other business owners, because I understand the struggles of entrepreneurs out here in the marketplace. So I like to break things down into the a lowest common denominator. And when we talk about success, you know, what is success? Right? What's this? Let's just break it down. What's the success of today? What are we trying to focus on? Is helping you create an automatic business, one that could work without you. So my goal here today is to help you get clarity on what this means, and then to give you some actions of what you need to take to get there. Hope that makes sense. So let's begin. So let's start off. You know, at Action Coach, we have a 9-step process in which we teach to get businesses running without you. And a lot of times when I chat with people about these first 7 steps that we're going to be talking about here today, they're not really even sure why we really need to do those, or why they're even really important. Most people go to and skip and go to step 8, and they can't understand then why their systems are struggling, that they don't work, or at least not working the way that they want to. And then the reality is that putting systems in place and documenting how to get things done means nothing if we don't put in place the right attitudes, the right methodologies, the goals, the vision of where the business is going. And if we want to get a business to work without you, without us, we got to have a bunch of people that's actually going to be doing the job and doing it well. And very simply put, is getting people, good people, to do it for you. So you see, systems are just part of the equation. 80% of what we can do can be systematized, but 20% still is going to be coming down to your people and the quality of people that you hire and the quality of people of the training that's actually delivered. So this is the our action coach book on instant systems. You can get that at Amazon. It's been around for a while. It's one of the first books that Brad Sugars, the founder of Action Coach, wrote. And this book has very practical steps of what we're going to be talking about today. But today I'm going to be adding some context to the content that you're going to find in the book itself. So I guess when I look at it, what's the ultimate aim of owning your own business is something that works. It's something that makes money without you being there, right? If you got to be there, you've just built a job for yourself. Yes, it's a good job. It could even be a high paying job, but in reality, that's what you have. If you have to be there every single day, you've just created a job. So a business works so you could take time off to go, play golf, go boating, spending time with families, friends, your kids, right? That's entirely different than having a job that just makes you money. And that's what we're aiming to be able to focus on today and to be able to teach you. So let's start out and talk about systems, because systems are the integral part. But let's see, what is a system in itself? System is something that's going to save you time, energy, money. And when you add the S for multiple systems, it's going to help you save your sanity as well. And this is what we're really talking about here. How do you and your team work less hours and get better results? Basically, how do we become more productive, right? How do you save time and energy and yet see your revenue and your profits growing? It really comes down to creating great systems in your company, whether there's the basic systems that we're going to start out with, or the systems that you end up with when your business is more complex and you need to start scaling your business. So we're going to be touching on those points as well today. So either way, whatever you do, it's the leverage step is more than just building systems, and it's building good systems, and that's what we're going to focus on. So before we get started, when we talk about the leverage steps, see, when we look at how Action Coach in general, how we build a business, there's 6 steps that we have that help you to create and build a better business. And where does systems fit in? How does the leverage or systemization of your company fit in? So when we look at this, at the very basic of the business is the mastery level. We're talking about very basics of a company building basically a commercial enterprise that can actually deliver its product or its service at some level of consistency. Some businesses really start out, thinking that, hey, if I just open up and put out a sign, everything's going to be great. And we all know the reality of not taking care of the niche or the marketing area, making sure that that we have a business coming in, nothing really happens, right? So mastery is level 1 of this whole process. And we need a fundamental understanding of mastery and systemization in this mastery level, right? Because there's 2 types of leverage that we're going to be talking about. And so when we go to, then once we have this mastery, then we go to niche, which is about marketing, and then we go to leverage. See, and the key to leverage is systems. So systemization at this point of leverage, it's really vital, and it's something that we really need to pay attention to, because this is the level where we begin to scale up in our business. So why do we need to do it before team building and after niche or marketing? Well, it comes after marketing, because this level of systemization really takes an investment. It costs money. So we have to make sure that we have money flowing into the business to be able to afford this level of systemization. So why is it ahead of team building? Well, this is very simple. You need to have those processes and systems in place to make sure that we're attracting the best in your industry to want to work for you, right? Yeah, I think this makes sense. I think we've done a couple of different webinars in the past on this. So it's really a balancing act for building a business. So, first you go fast in the beginning, and then you gradually slow down a little, because you have a much bigger operation, you got more moving parts, and a lot of times it's more able than you're able to handle. And this is a lot of times where the bottlenecks come in and where business owners get stuck. So let's take a look at this from a very simple perspective in starting out. So our, definition of a business, which is a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you, and let's see how that applies, right? And what I want to do here is discuss the first 4 areas of mastery, or what are the very basic areas of systemization when it comes to building a business. So the first area of mastery is destination mastery, right? If you don't know your goals, your dreams, if you don't know where you're going or what you're going after, it's very hard for a business to be able to achieve that. So you need to be very clear on this destination, your goals and your dreams. You need to know, where is your business going, right? You have to be able to know it so you could achieve it for your customer, your client, the person buying that particular product or service in your business. You need to have a system set up so you could track your goals and your dreams and continue to be pushing yourself further out. So that's part of what's involved with today. So the second, so let's go to the next step. So now we have money coming in, money going out. How do we master that, right? What are the reports that we need? Where do we need to go to increase our revenue? Where do we need to put the pedal to the metal to grow our business, right? So very simply, if you can't tell me what your profit is, what your loss is, your basic cash flow by the end of the week or month, then there's a really serious problem going on in the business. So you need to know those things before you can begin to scale up. So we need to have basic money systems in the business as well. So the third level here is in mastery is time mastery. This is all about how you as a business owner invest your time. How do you get the best usage of your employees by making sure that the productivity that they're executing on is at its highest level? And this is actually a whole topic of another seminar that we could spend hours on. So in spending it on here today, let's just sort of, you can go over to my website and look at my business tips, and you could find a variety of different strategies that we use in this area. But and if you need any help in implementing this, give me a call. We could have a free strategy session to help you through that as well. But then let's go into, we've looked at destination mastery, money mastery, time mastery. Now we need to look at delivery mastery. This is about adding consistency to your business, because lack of consistency leads to chaos in your business. As we build consistency into our business, where the service or product is consistently delivered in a way that the customer wants, where they feel satisfied. We're not talking about creating a wow experience, right? That's at a later date. Right now, we just want to be able to deliver our product and a service the way our client expects. And if you're having trouble growing, you're stuck, that maybe there's actually even some self-sabotage going on. What do I mean by that? Because you haven't mastered these steps, that you're reluctant to sell more, because in the back of your mind, that you're thinking that, hey, if you sell more, it's just going to lead to more chaos in the business because you don't have the right systems in place. So you stay at a level where you know that it's not going to stress you out, right? But we need to move beyond that. So when we sit down and we look, and as I mentioned briefly before, our definition of a successful business is a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. If you have to be there, it's not an enterprise. This is one of the interesting aspects of building a great business is how often you have to work. Working every day isn't exactly what we're aiming for here in the long run, right? Our goal is to build a business that can work without us. Some of you have been in business for maybe 20, 30 years and might be thinking, hey, this isn't possible, right? Even if you might be in business like for 5 years and just saying how this business can never run without me. But if that's your current mindset, you're right, right? But this is very possible. That's what I'm here to share with you today, is giving you a methodology that you can now implement to be able to make this dream a reality, right? So, it's in these 4 mastery level steps that we need to build really our first basic systems, with the goal to eliminate the chaos and gain control of the business, and to develop consistency in the business, right? That would then allows us to go in and we can get into the niche and the marketing level, and we could start generating more cash flow because we can handle more business. Because if you go ahead and start marketing and the more you sell, the more chaos you have, then you're going to have not happy customers. You're not going to have happy employees. You're going to lose the employees. Everybody's going to be stressed. So let's now look at these 9 steps. What are the 9 steps of systemization, and how do they work? How do they all fold into each other? What's the starting point? Where does it end? What's happening here? Because this is a process. This is a system. The interesting thing is that wherever we start, wherever you are in your business, is the systems are where we start is the same. So step 1 about systemization is about your vision. The mission is second, and third is your culture. And when you come down and look at the list of what we've talked about here, some of the words that we've used, if you've been to my other webinars or been involved with Action Coach for a while, you're going to see some very similar words that we use. And we're going to be talking about each of these things on a very high level today. So now let's go back 1 step to the mastery level, which we were just talking about. And, we still need to put systems in place here, but at mastery, there's still basic systems. But when you get to now this leverage step, right, the marketing is really working well. We need to start building a great leverage systems that's going to now scale up your business, right? To be able to allow you to really do a lot more with less. So let's go through each of these steps and see where it takes us. So the first stage of systemization is the vision, is your vision statement. And it's basically, that's different than, how are we going to be like the best in the industry? This is about the vision of the operation. It's about what is it that you want your business to do, to feel like, to look like. Some refer to this as what's our core focus, and how do we do that? So, if you think about your vision, this might freak out some people. You think of it as a 100-year goal. Yep, I said that, 100-year goal, and you're thinking, I'm not going to be around for another 100 years. I don't want to be in this business 100 years. And of course, we have no idea at this point how this is even going to happen. But it's all about saying, hey, why don't we just go after that? This is a cool idea, right? This is where we proclaim that this is our moon that we're shooting for. This is something that might take multiple generations and various types and amounts of people that we're going to need to have in place to be able to achieve this goal. At Action Coach, our vision is to create world abundance through business re-education. Now, if we can get a lot of people involved in wanting to see this vision come true, that would be a pretty awesome thing. But for that to happen, get people to enroll in this vision, there's 2 things that really have to happen. First, we have to enroll our employees and the people who want to buy from us. into this vision. They have to buy into it. And secondly, we have to create the right environment to be able to grow this vision. And when you can get the right people involved and you can get them to inspire things and get and really change the fundamental way that we do business or people work with you, it's a pretty amazing thing, you know. And I know there's a few you're thinking, it's like, why is this the first step of systemization? And this is the really an important point. Think of it this way. What's the use of systematizing a business that has a bunch of people in charge that have no idea or don't really care about what they are doing? We don't want that to happen. So let's make sure that you stay very clear on this 100-year goal of our core focus. What it is, the thing that's standing right in front of you, your employees, and say, hey, this would be awesome, phenomenal. Can we could really make a difference with this, and let's go do it. Let's go after it. So that's our vision statement. Next one's our mission statement. This tells our employees, our clients, is how we're going to achieve our vision. This is all about achieving the vision. So think of this is our story. This is, how do we actually create this level of perfection? How can we create a person who understands how to say the same words in the same ways as us as the owners or leaders of our organization? We look at our vision as if we look at this as really just one big challenge, we might look at it and get overwhelmed and say, hey, this is impossible, I'm going home. Right? So, but if we look at our vision as multiple opportunities to achieve this mission statement, I'm sure we could find 100 of those opportunities, right? The mission statement, when we look at it, really covers 4 different areas: is who are we, what do we do, what we, who are our customers, and what makes us different. It will tell a story that will very rarely change over time, and it's really designed to give your team purpose and direction. So we have vision first, mission second. Mission's all about how the vision is important to us, how it's actually, we're going to put it into place and achieve results, right? And that's what we're really focusing on. So this now is going to be, is how do we actually make this work, right? How do we actually make leverage work? So how do we actually get this to be part of our everyday thinking in our business, if you will? So the mission statement leads us to this next step, which is our culture statement. So so let's go in and look deeper. What is a culture statement? Think of it as, this is the rules of the game. It's how we get things done. Right? These are the behaviors that we expect from people that are part of our organization. See, at Action Coach, we actually have 14 points of culture. You can actually check these, our culture statements out on my webpage, Action Coach JAX.com. Go up to the About tab and select on points of culture, and you'll see all of our 14 different points of culture. And what you're going to see, that they're written in a very unique way. They are written as I am statements. So these are affirmations of who we need to become or how we need to act. This tells us who we need to be or become to be part of a winning team. Some of our clients, instead of using it this way, they go a little bit different direction, and they turn them into success behaviors because they're easier to recognize. It's a lot easier to recognize an action than a value, right? So, for example, let's say a lot of companies use integrity as a value or a point of culture. So a success behavior here is, how do we recognize value? And when I ask that question, the majority of people come up with the first thing that pops out of their head is, well, if somebody does what they say, they have integrity. Boom, simple. I can now start looking for people that have integrity by looking at, do they do what they say, right? So when we are creating points of culture, we sort of break it down into 4 areas, and you could have 1, 2, or 3 points. It doesn't make a difference. It's what you feel comfortable with. But some of the points have to be, what are things important to the owner or the leaders of the organization? What's important to the overall success of the business? Important to the team? What points are important to the customers as well. And that's what there, you're going to now, it will, once you get done with these, you're going to feel really good because they're going to say, hey, yeah, this is who we are. This is what I am all about. So most of us, the fourth step is SMART goals, right? Most of us have come across SMART goals, and, in building a set of, SMART goals, what are we trying to do, right? Our aim is to set a goal big enough that it's a stretch, but it's also small enough that we can get there, right? Or so, most of the, what is it for those that don't know, it's a SMART goal stands for being specific, measurable, attainable, be results oriented, in a time frame. So in setting our goals for our business, we need to start by asking ourselves this very simple and powerful question. If our business was finished, what would it look like? What does our business look like when it's finished? And you might be asking, what do I mean by finished? What would it look like if you don't have to show up every day? SMART goals start with us having to get really clear on exactly what we want to achieve. If we're not starting with 3, 5, 10 years out goals and then start working backwards, we're going to start to struggle. Running a business is not complex, but it's not really complex, but it's not easy, right? Writing systems is not complex, but it's not easy. So at this mastery level, our goals are very basic. Now we're at the leverage level, and our goals are going to be a lot more complex and require a lot more thinking, because now we're trying to scale up. So the bigger our business gets, the better our systems, our financial management, and our sales systems and whatnot need to be. If you don't, you're going to start struggling, because it's going to take you maybe 2 to 3 times the level of productivity for your people to get a certain job done, right? So we're talking about doing more with less. So when people go back and start and look at adding systems into our business, in essence, most people, again, as I've said a bunch of times, is they skip to that 8th step, which involves that to-do list. But what's the use of building a system if you don't know where or how to, right? Where, the where is the vision, the mission of the company. Our culture is our why, is how we get things done, right? When people understand the why they are doing something, the how to becomes very simple. So most of us go straight to the how-tos without understanding our why and our where, and where we're going. And knowing where we're going is so very important. And that's why we get stuck. So when you also think about it this way, is how do you write even a business plan if you don't have a good, clear, specific goal or vision of where we're going? How do you build robust systems if you don't know what the goals of the company are? What I'm talking about here is not just documenting what we do, but how do we create? Who are we, right? Where are we going? So in order to sit down and to say, what does our business plan look like, and then what systems need to be in place to be able to achieve those business goals? So I hope that makes some sense to you. So that is number 4. So let's now go skip to number 5, right? Let's look at, so where are we right now? So we have our vision, our mission, our culture in place. We have set our SMART goals, and we know where our company is going, annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, right? Now and when we look at this big picture, is putting the systems part of our, when we look at the big picture, is putting systems together, is that part of business planning? No, but they actually go hand in hand. So and that's where our organizational chart, or what I like to call our function and role charts, is definitely, it's part of our business planning, but it's a function of systems. So, and this is not a chart of who is there now, but what it looks like when you're done building the business, when it can work without you. I like to look more here by roles and functions of a business, and then afterwards, then we put in the people and who owns those particular functions and roles. But if we create a role and function organizational chart from the point of view of our business will look like in its future, we kind of really have a roadmap, don't we? Right? We can't get clarity on this until we are clear on our goals and what we want to create. And when we are in this leverage step, we are getting ready to scale up, but we need to know what we're scaling to. So in the beginning, you might not have a clear vision. That's okay. We can work on that. That will come, because sometimes you have to first move away from where you're at to start building where you want to go, right? But as we hit this leverage stage, we need to make sure that we are now really crystal clear on our vision, our mission, culture, and our goals. And this is a lot of times where we'll do it in the beginning of a coaching process. And this is where we go back and we relook and say, hey, is this really where we need to be? If that makes sense. All right, so let's go take a closer look here. So as we build this chart, we don't want to look at who are the people, but what are the positions, the roles of the organization, and then define what that, what our business does. So, one of my client favorite books out there is The E-Myth, right? Mr. Gerber stresses that systems are the answer. Yes, but only part of the answer, the only part of building this automatic business that we're talking about here. So if the goal is to build a 5, 10, 20, $30 million business, now we need to look at what type of structure we need to make that happen. Once we understand these different roles and functions, then we can define or the roles, and we can define the functions of each of those roles. And only then can we determine the type of person that we need to succeed in that role, fulfilling those functions. So to get to leverage and want to scale up, we need to make sure that this chart is future oriented of what our business needs to look at like in the future. And before we get to leverage, you're going to find that you're going to own a lot of these roles in your business. And once you realize this and see this, you're going to begin to understand why you're so worn out. And we're going to talk about how do we get ourselves out of that position in a little bit. But we need to understand how many people that we need in each role. How many people in sales, how many technicians, how many back office staff do we need? We might find that also as we grow and start scaling, some of our current staff might not be able to grow with us. We need people to be able to grow with this company. And we might need people that have different skills, a whole different skill set. But now you have a plan of what you want to give up and what areas that you need to delegate from your business, right? So this chart is very fundamental core to building a strong foundation of growth and and scalability. So we need to start with our vision and the mission of the company. We start with where we're going. Then we look at, who are we, with our, and why do we do this with our culture statement? So what are the success behaviors that we need from our team who will help us get there, right? So those are the first 5 of the 9 steps. So once we've identified these roles and functions, we need to create what we call our positional agreements, right? Traditionally, we think of these maybe as employee agreements, but we have found that there are a lot of characteristics that we don't find in traditional employee agreements that help clarify what the actual expectations of what we expect from that position, right? To allow us and allow the business to work so without the business owner. So getting a business to work without you, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And obviously we have to build the right team, to build our reputation. We got to build our customer loyalty. We have to build all those different aspects. And positional agreements fit very well within this structure. Is, how do we know if our employees are doing a good job or they are getting the effective result that we're looking for? Most of us have a hard time defining that because we don't know. It's a gut feeling like, okay, when, we know when they're doing a good job or not, right? But there's nothing specific. So remember, there's a difference between doing a good job and then getting the expected results that we need from that position, right? So let's continue on here. So I want to share with you an exercise that can help you with this. Do this exercise with your employees. Ask your employees to write down a list of what are the 10 most important tasks that's part of their job. And then when completed, what are the expected benefits for the company when they do these tasks? What's the expected outcome, right? Now, at the same time, you're going to do the same thing. You write down what you perceive to be their 10 most important tasks and what the expected outcome should be. And you're going to be amazed at maybe how different those lists can be. I think on average, it's about 30% might be about the same. So position agreements put in place are really help to eliminate that gap. So one of the key performance factors of any organization is, is even how well people get along. And when people get along, they're generally doing a better job. If not, there's conflict, there's production falters and whatnot. So positional agreements help to remove all that by having an agreement of living your points of culture of those success behaviors. They're signing off on this, right? So next, also positional agreements help you to clarify whose job is what. Most importantly, clarify what are the, again, expected outcomes from that position. And they also help when people are saying, hey, it's not my job. Because if we state what the expected outcome is, then they are responsible for it. Maybe it not is specifically their job, but the outcome is what we want them to actually take ownership from. And so finally, position agreements will help you to actually even hire the right person for that position, because you're going to know that once you're going to look for somebody that this position will fit like a glove, if that makes sense, right? So now we get to step 7. Step 7 is KPIs, and now it is, most of us know these as key performance indicators, but I want you to think of them as key predictive indicators. Why? Because it will help you to predict the future. By looking at trends, you can see how well each employee or department as a whole is doing. You see, when you're looking at numbers as trends, and see it's dropped 10 points, you can now start asking better questions and digging deeper, right? Sort of like on the dashboard of your car, it's the engine light goes on. You don't know that it's what's wrong, but it's now saying, hey, I got to stop and take a look at to see what this issue is. It might be a big thing, it might be a little thing, but I need to pay attention to that, right? So the important thing here is to being able to quickly have a chart where you could see the trends, not just looking at a P&L by month on separate sheets. You need to be able to see these numbers in a trending format. Right. So when we come down to KPIs, each member should have specific numbers that are tied to their position. Their success will be tied to how well you pick and manage and measure these key predictive indicators. And generally, each team member might have, I don't know, maybe 6 at the most 12 key tasks or outcomes that you want to measure. If you have a technician, a salesperson, even sales managers, what are the 6 things that you can manage that will help predict their results? Even bonuses could be tied to this, right? So in addition to people, your departments or department heads should have key predictive indicators as well. And having these KPIs, these key predictive numbers in place, will allow you to actually even leave your business for long periods of time and still have a good temperature of how your business is doing, because they could be sending this out in a scorecard to you, and you know where your business stands. So this finally leads us to step number 8, our how-to manuals, right? This is where most people, as we talked about, start in this systemization process. So remember, if you don't know where you're going and how you're going to get there and why you're going there, you can't really know how to get there. There's not a map, right? So when we sit down and we take a look at this, is how do we get things off our plate? So this is the role and a sort of an idea of what our role and function chart is. So when we start systematizing, we should do it from the bottom up. These are the people that are doing the more mundane tasks. They're more familiar, the more routine tasks, right? They're actually, a lot of these people are the ones that are in touch with our clients itself, right? So these are very important, even though they might be low level mundane tasks. These are things that are touching our clients. So don't systematize from the owner or the CEO on down, systematize from the bottom up. And again, these are usually the more mundane, routine tasks. And these are some tasks that you might still be doing, and you need to first systematize them before you can delegate them and get them off of your plate. But once we start doing this from the bottom up, you're going to start with the three main areas, and then go to the next level to systematize it, and then finally get up to the top. And this is all about the concept that you need to delegate, you yourself need to delegate to elevate up this function and role chart to get your business working without you. Because once you get all the way up to the top, or graduate actually from this chart, that's when you have a business that works without you. So this is a very important concept to understand, is we need to systematize the routine and humanize the exception. So when you're making a how-to system, don't just think about making it easier even for your employees or yourself. Think about, how can I make it easier for my customers as well? How does our sales system make it harder for the salespeople to sell or for our customers to buy, right? We need to look at both sides of these equations. We need to start by really making a list of every routine task in the company by position. And again, your employees can definitely help and put this initial list together for you. And if we go back and look at the concept of systematizing the routine and humanizing the exception, and we now begin by making a list of every routine task in the company. We've got our vision, we got our mission covered, we got a handle on the direction of where we want to go. We have our function and role chart. We know what people are supposed to do. So now we need to take this up to the next level, because once we have a list of every routine task, now break it down and sort it by what are the things they do daily, weekly, quarterly. What are those tasks and roles? Break it down that way. And only once we have this information can we begin to build a plan of how do we move forward. Once you know how to systematize a business, everything else becomes so much easier for you. As we create these systems, you are actually creating training programs, not a lesson program. So what's the difference? What am I talking about here? So let's take a look at what your systems look like. So building a process of documents, flowcharts, checklists, using videos, audios, computer systems. There's lots of even great training apps that are out there. I actually had a client that had created all of their training videos using an app, a program called Loom, right? And I actually used that when I was training my assistant to use my processes, how to use my CRM, the way I want her to use it, how I want her to do my social posts, my automations, even the webinar setup that you're part of. I've created a Loom video or a series of videos for each process. And that's a great tool that we have today. So because some of these things she only does once a month, so she's maybe not going to remember it in the beginning, but if she always goes back and does it, it's going to now become part of her. And she doesn't really have to ask me questions, because all the questions I've already answered those once in the video. And then also audios are great to systematize what to say, and most importantly, how you want them to say it. And needless to say, we need even training systems to train on the how-to systems, right? Do it once and then never have to repeat it. So remember, systematize routine, humanize the exception, and only systematize the routine, but then also some training and processes still obviously need to be in person. But the how-to systems are a very important part of building a great business. But when we go there, we need to also think about it this way, is make sure that they're easy to follow, because this is all about creating great leverage in our business. So let me go this direction. So let's take a look at what's the difference between owners work and employees work. If we're building a business and we're doing employees work, we're doing a work that just pays us back for the hours work, right? I cut the grass, I cut the grass, I get paid. I sell something, I get paid. I cut hair, I get paid if I'm a hairdresser or whatnot, right? So what I'm suggesting is that if you are to build great systems into your business, you need to build systems that are easy to use and follow, and everyone in the organization wants to use them. Systems that are excitable actually get people wanting to get better results and improve them. So let's be clear about it. If systems are hard to use, people just won't use them, right? Now, and there's actually going to be some people that are just going to resist using systems, period, right? And this is where we have to make it very clear that this is part of the job. This is how we do things around here. And if that's not important to them, then they might be happy working someplace else. But ultimately, if we put videos together, flow charts together, audios and software programs together, and we need to put them all in a place where everyone can have access to them who needs them, and we made it easy for them to use and follow. So that's really one of the last points I want to talk about, making these how-to systems. So that's going to lead us here into our management system. This now brings us to understanding what do I mean by management system. It used to be that when someone got promoted into management, they were actually sent to management training school. Nowadays, it seems like that we figure since somebody is good at their job, they be a great manager as well. Well, we need to realize that being a manager takes new and different skills than doing the job. It's a mind shift of being just, hey, one of the guys, to now you're the boss, you're the leader. So we want to make sure that our management systems are proactive, and not one where they're spending all their time putting out fires in the business. We want to see a system where they can meet with their employees on a regular basis, where they know how to run their team. They know how to manage and build systems around the people on their team to get the desired results that we're looking for. To make a point that we're not up to team building yet. That's a whole other workshop that we've done. But here we're talking about management strategies. Managers need not only know how to manage people, they need to understand how to manage information as well. And we need to create management systems for that as well, so we know that they are managing our teams properly. Does that make sense? So ultimately, what is the goal of developing and writing these systems? Think about it this way. If every week or every day I write one system, at whatever rate, it's the closer we get to having our systems work together, the closer we get to working smarter and not harder, actually working less. These systems need to save us time, energy, money, and effort. So if every system that you write, whether it's daily, weekly, or for whatever, it's saving you 15 minutes. And what even if we could do more than just one a week, right? So, how many systems then do we need to write to never have to work again? If we do one system a week, that saves us an hour a month, right? Just think about that. How can that change your business, your life, right? That's something to think about. So just one system saves you approximately 15 minutes. So what are we aiming to create? A place where the business works without us, right? That commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. So when we sit down and we look at it is, what have we learned today? What can we put into action? These things are not about just how to fix your business, but how to build it long-term, building long-term results, right? Now that we actually think about this, we have our systems in place. What your KPIs, your key performance indicators, or key predictive indicators that you want, right? So, now you create a business that achieves those, and not the other way around, where is what can a business do, and then measure it afterwards, right? So the question is here is, there's lots of lessons that we've all learned of what we can achieve in our business. Think about it. What were you looking for when you started watching this webinar? Can you achieve that? And I think the answer is yes, you can. You can work less hours. You can have systems that run your business for you. Yes, you can, now see where your business is going. So this is really what we need to be thinking about. So really the only question now is, what's it going to take to get me to implement this now? Right? And it really starts, it's simple. It starts with a plan. And the hardest thing about planning is getting started. Hey, you might be disciplined to do it yourself, or invest in a coaching service to guide you through this process and hold you accountable to get it done sooner rather than later. So the question that you need to do is that, where are we right now? There's two directions that you can go. You can say, hey, Steve, I'm really excited about what you taught me to hear today. Thank you for everything that you shared. I'm going to go out. I'm going to put this, I'm going to implement it. I get it. Thanks. And I'll talk to you soon. Right. Or you might say, hey, I'm really interested in getting massive results in my business. What do I need to do? How do I apply this into your business? You might be asking, would this even work in my business? What's my next step? What do I actually need to do? How do I get started? Can you guide me to implement this in the business? And my question is or not question, but what I have an invitation is to invite you to schedule a free strategy session with me. And the purpose of this 1.5 hour Zoom call is for us to take what you've learned today in this workshop and guide you to focus on how you can apply that into your business. And so you're going to really discover the power of coaching and the clarity that you're going to get from this call. If your old strategies aren't as effective as they used to be, and you're looking for new, fresh ideas, or you might be wondering if coaching can actually help you and your business, this is even a great opportunity to find that out. So go ahead, book your call right now. Go to strategy-sessions.com, right now, and it'll take you to my calendar, find an open spot. I only have a few spots available, so make sure you take this choice for massive results, book a call, and really discover the power of coaching. Working with me as an action coach, you're going to learn how to generate more cash flow, profits, create better teams, create amazing teams that will able to really help you generate more free time and live the life that you want. So again, if you're interested in learning more about coaching, we have a variety of different coaching programs at all different levels of business, and each program is really customized for each business through our 6 steps process. The process is the same, but implementation is customized to the business owner of the business. So remember, nothing happens until you take action. So take the first step. Can't wait to talk with you and see how we can help you transform your business. Have a great day.